What's up, everyone? It is your girl Gel Beauty 87 here, aka Grace, and today we got another old school versus new school. So today's old school versus new school, I have the Juvia's Place Wahala 2 palette alongside the Unearthly Cosmetics Vitality palette. So when I first thought about these, I was like, well, I don't know if they're like 100% exact, but I feel like they have similar enough colors in them to where like I could include them. Now the ranges of the colors aren't exactly the same, so don't look for that, but it's like I feel like the color stories are pretty similar to where they can be battled against each other in this video. You see what I'm saying? Like you have your sunset color over here. Now I feel like there are more blues and purples in here than there are in the Vitality palette, but otherwise I feel like they look pretty similar, and that's why I wanted to go ahead and give them a go in this video. So without further ado, let's get into it. As usual, y'all know I'm going to talk about the old school palette first, which would be the Wahala 2. Out of both the Wahalas, this is my favorite Wahala, and then we'll get into the Vitality palette, which is one of my favorite palettes of 2022. Anyways, this is what she looks like on the inside. First of all, we know the thing I hate about this palette. Why are there so many pressed glitters in here? Like, why are there 3 pressed glitters in here? But I love the fact they're dual chrome, and I love the way the color story was laid out. Only thing I will say is like the blue. How did this get a nick in it? Anyway, only thing I will say, the blues and the purples in here are lacking. Like, I feel like as far as purples go, I feel like there's not enough purples in here. I feel like I see mainly blues, and the purples are like the shimmers that are shifting from blue to purple. So I'd like to see a couple of purple mattes in here. You could have took away the pressed glitters and gave me some purple mattes, girl. Anyway, form on this one is really nice. Like I said, I like the dual chromes in here. I like the mattes from Juvia's Place. They're not, you know, like exceptionally wonderful mattes, but they get the job done. They're really colorful. They work really nice on people my skin tone, but they were made for my skin tone from someone who is my skin tone, so makes sense. I really liked this palette when I first got it and tried it out. I still like it now. It's just I like the Vitality one a little bit more, and we're gonna talk about why in a second, but I still feel like this would be a good contender against that one because the Vitality one is $50, and y'all know Juvia's Place is more affordable and has coupon codes and always has sales. So I feel like this would be a good alternative for you if you're not trying to spend the coins, because this one is $50. Let me open, if I remember correctly, it was $50. Let me open on the inside. This is what she looks like. Okay, I love the color story of this and the way it's laid out. You got like your little sunset moment here. You got your nice little green moment here. And then you got the blue and purple up here. So I love the way she curated the color story of this. And the palette, it looks stunning. I will say that if I remember correctly, I felt like the mattes in here were kind of hard pressed. If I remember talking about it, I remember saying that in the video because I was talking about how difficult it was to pick them up. So I don't know what it was with Unearthly Cosmetics in 2022, but a lot of them were hit and miss when it came to like the stuff being pressed in the pan. So I don't know if it's going on with certain companies where they're pressing things harder in the pan than they do other things, because ColourPop had the same issue with some of their palettes that I tried as well, which made me not like them as much as other people did. But I'm hoping this year we'll have better. I'm filming this in 2022 still, so I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that I love this color story, and like I told you all, this was one of my favorite palettes of 2022. I was here for it. It was a vibe. I absolutely loved it. I used this at least 3 or 4 times, and you know, again, if I use the palette 3 or 4 times, it's a big deal, because y'all know I have to constantly test the palettes, and I only have 2 days a week to like test out, make videos for the stuff, and then throughout the week I have to try to test out a different palette each day. So the fact that I kept reaching into this one, I feel like says it all. The color story is wonderful. The shimmers in here are nice. Some of them were a little hard pressed. Some of the mattes were a little hard pressed. So I'm interested to see how it's going to go against the Juvia's Place one, because since it was made before they started having issues with pressing shadows and all that, like I've been noticing in some of the palettes I tried last year in 2022. I'm interested to see how this is going to perform against that. So I'm zooming on it real quick and cute like. So we're going to do the Juvia's Place one. Sorry, the Juvia's Place one off camera, and then I'll do the Vitality one on camera, because we need to see if the formula is going to be any different, or if it was softened up or something like that, hopefully, because it's like, I remember this being difficult to work with, but I still love it enough to keep using it. So that tells you how amazing the color story was. I'm going to go off camera, get my life in order. If you're curious what's on my eyes, I used the Enchanted palette from ColourPop, and I mixed it in with one of my worst eyeshadow palettes of 2022 just to try it out again and see how I felt about it. And the mattes were just fine. It was just like the quality of the brand, I feel like, went downhill ever since like their 2nd release of palettes, and this was like their 3rd release of palettes, and I feel like it's just getting worse and worse and worse. So I it worked for what I needed to do just for the outer V and the lower lash line, but I don't think I'm gonna buy anything else from the brand in the future because I wasn't impressed enough. And with the price point they have, I feel like I need to be impressed more. Anyway, like I said, I'm gonna go off camera, get my life in order, and I'll be right back, and we can do the Unearthly Cosmetics eye on camera. Okay, girl? Okay. Okay, y'all, so this is the eye we went with the Juvia's Place Wahala 2 palette. Y'all know that's my favorite out of all the Wahala palettes that exist. So there's a, oh, by the way, new hair, who this? New hair, who this? Yes. It took me so long to film this to the point where I have a new hairstyle. But, you know, point is we got to it, girl. Leave me alone. So what I did was, I'm going to show y'all swatches. So I got Unearthly swatch first and then Juvia. So Unearthly, Juvia, Unearthly, Juvia, Unearthly, Juvia, Unearthly, Juvia, Unearthly, Juvia. So as you can see, the shades aren't exact, but I feel like they're close enough to where we should be able to wing it and make this look work. Because this is a $50 palette, but I feel like the color story is really similar to the Juvia's Place. The only downside of the Juvia's Place is, of course, y'all know they had to put all them damn press goods in here. Like, ma'am, sir, we done told y'all we don't want these press goods. Take them away. No one asked you for them. Like, no one. So let's get into the palette. So I started off, I dusted this shade. Well, I'm going to dust this shade into the crease, and then I'm going to add the orange on top of that. I'm interested to see how the color with this is going to turn out with that, because I feel like the orange in the Juvia's Place, if y'all saw on the swatch on my hand, I feel like it's more of the fluorescent bright type orange, where I feel like this is just more of like a true orange, if you will. Then we're going to put this cute little pink shade right here into the crease. This is the shimmer that I'm going to have to put on the lid. It's not the same as the other shimmer as you saw in my hand. And then this brown, I feel like it's more red tone. And I feel like the Juvia's Place is more of like a true brown. So those are the differences I saw just watching it. But we're going to see how it goes on the eyeballs. So I'm sorry to say Gusto. And I feel like this one ran a little more peachy pink. Whereas I feel like the one the Juvia's Place ran more a little like beigeish pink. Or beigeish peachish type shade. And this just seems more peachy pink. Those are just my thoughts having swatched both of them when I like looked at them on my hand swatch. I don't know what you all saw when you saw the swatches on my hand, but that's why I would swatch them on my hand so you can see the undertone differences when it comes to the differences in colors. But you know, it's just me. Y'all, so I was putting on the what is it? The Kosas concealer, and like the tip of my concealer came off. So the part that the applicator that you actually use to put the concealer on your eyes, it literally just broke off. So I was like, I don't even know how I'm about to use the rest of this concealer, because it literally just popped off, and I was like, ooh, child. The foolishness of it all. And that's like one of my favorite concealers too, and I actually have on their foundation as well. But the fact that it just popped off, honey, I was like, ooh, I don't know, it means it's flimsy to me, because it wasn't like I was being aggressive with it. I was just putting it into my eyes the way I normally do, and it literally just snapped. And I was like, oh, so how do I put on the concealer now? So I guess I'm going to like find another one to put it on with. Or I'm still trying to figure out. I wonder if I could take the stopper out and then just see if I can find an older one from an old like concealer that I don't use anymore and just put it on top instead. Because I just feel like that's real ghetto. But you know, we're going to do what we have to do, because I paid for this product and we're going to use it. Like, I'm not playing about that, honey. I paid for it, we're going to use it. But it's like halfway done, so I'm like, do I just let it go? But I'm like, no, it's a concealer I actually like. We're not just going to let it go. I'm thinking about taking the Jacqueline Cosmetics concealer top and just put it in the Kosas one, but I don't think it's long enough. So I need to find one that's like long enough that will actually fit. So that's going to be my challenge. As you can see, I'm just dipping the orange on top of here. I feel like it's giving a somewhat similar effect that it did on the other side, which is good. I feel like this one's giving a little bit more orange. But, you know, it might fade a little bit as we get later on. So I look like this eye did, so we'll see how that goes. And now I'm going with the outer V shades. We're going with the reddish brown now. And let's put that on. I want to use this section in particular just because I feel like these are the shades I would most likely use the least. Well, at least like the orange and the brown or whatever. So I was like, let's do both those. Plus, you know, the palette had the same shades all across. So I could have used any section. I just chose to use the one I felt like I would use the least to try to give y'all like an idea of the colors and the neutrals and the other things. And do something different as opposed to just do like the blue section or the green section or like the purple section. I was like, let's do the section you'd be least likely to do in the real world. Even though when I did a look with this palette originally, I did do a look with each section. So technically I did a look with this section already, but I'm like, you know, I didn't compare it to the Juvia's Place one, so that should be okay. And it's blended out quite smoothly and nicely. I remember the first time I used this palette, I was like, ooh, I don't know. I feel like some of the shades were hard pressed, but I feel like those were the more colorful ones. Like these, like kind of neutrally ones, I don't feel like they're doing as bad as the colorful one did. That was the one I had the problem with in my original video, if you all remember from watching it. Now I'm gonna take the pink and pop it in the crease here. So I'm really liking the way this look is turning out so far. I'm liking a cute little pop of pink moment, but still having like, you know, somewhat neutral for somebody who likes this sort of thing, because you got your little pop of color here in the middle of the crease, but you still got like, you know, a lot of neutral-esque stuff going on, so it's a nice little balance for somebody who likes that sort of thing. I'm not crazy about this sort of thing, but if I'm in a rush trying to get ready for work, this could be like a good thing for me, because sometimes y'all, like, I literally leave the house like 15 minutes late, and you know, I've been having a rush with the eye look, so this would be one of those type of eye looks I would do during that time, because it's like I still, excuse me, need some color in my life. I'm not just gonna do plain makeup, so I'd have to do something fun and colorful, like the Ace Beaute. I put up a picture of an Ace Beaute palette look I had done, and you know, I did that. We're gonna take the glitter glue and do that because it's Black History Month when I'm filming this, and I've been using a lot of Ace Beaute during Black History Month. I plan on using Juvia's Place as well, and I'm still trying to like give a couple of looks for Valentine's Day, but I'm not gonna use like, I'm not making like traditional Valentine's Day content. Like y'all know I do old school versus new school. I got 2 Valentine's Day palettes in that. Then the look I'm about to do is my top 10 favorite palettes from with the ColourPop palette. I have a row of colors in there that I'm going to use to make a Valentine's Day look. So it's like I'm going to try to still give y'all Valentine's content, but it's like I don't want to just have to use Valentine's Day palettes. So that's what I was kind of aiming for and what my plan is as far as Valentine's Day looks come. Valentine's Day should have already passed by the time y'all seeing this, and my plan should have already went in place. I gave y'all a whole little Valentine, anti-Valentine's Day like reels, or I'm sorry, shorts here on YouTube, reels on Instagram, and TikToks on, well, TikToks on like I've done my part as far as like trying to get y'all stuff in your collection you already own to give you ideas for looks. It's just I didn't necessarily want to traditionally do like this Valentine's Day content. If a Valentine's Day collection came out in time and I got it to give you the video then I was like, okay, but like I wasn't trying to run away to buy stuff like I normally do. Okay, let's go back into this one. Okay, so these are both the finished eyes. This is the Juvia's Place eye, and here is the Unearthly eye. So, back you on up, girl, and then we talk about how I feel about both these eye looks. So, when it comes to this old school versus new school, I like both eye looks, as y'all know, or else I wouldn't still own both palettes. I like each one for different reasons, though. So, I guess I'll get into the reasons of why I like each palette. Okay, so when it comes to the Juvia's Place palette, I like the fact that it has like a dual chrome in it. If y'all know, it has a dupe to the dual chrome in the Pat McGrath Divine Rose 2 Artistry palette. The dupe in there is, it's called Fake in the palette. I didn't use it in this video, but I did. I'm pretty sure I used it in the video where I got the, when I initially did this palette in. This shade right here is really similar to that shade in Divine Rose 2 palette Artistry. The thing I hate about this, and we all know what it is, all these pressed glitters. There's like 3 pressed glitters in here, but I like this dual chrome here in the shade called Money as well. So there are a couple of dual chromes in this palette, and it has a nice color story to it, and it gave me a nice looking eye or whatever. This palette I actually had a really difficult time with when I first started using it. If you all remember, I was talking about how the mattes were difficult to work with and some of the shimmers weren't giving it to me. But like over time, I guess because I've worked through the product a little bit, it's been much easier to use, and I've enjoyed it a whole lot more. So if I had to pick, I'm going to say I picked the Unearthly eye mainly just because it doesn't have any pressed glitters in it. It's not that I don't like the Juvia's Place palette, but it's like I have the option of no pressed glitters and the same color story. I'm going to choose the one that doesn't have the pressed glitters because we all know my passion and hate of pressed glitters. So I like the Juvia's Place palette just fine. It's still my favorite Wahala out of the two Wahalas. It's just because it has a pressed glitter in there, it's like, you know, it dropped itself down on the list because I feel like the eyes look pretty similar. I do like the fact though that this one is more pink than this one. This gives more of a bronzy, coppery type look on the lid, and y'all know I'm not big on colors like that either, so that's probably what helped this one along too. The fact that even though it has some more neutral mattes in it, it didn't give me like a neutral shimmer to go along with it because I'm not huge on stuff like that. So the Unearthly Cosmetics Vitality palette wins for me. But if you're in the market for a similar alternative to this, that's why I do these videos. You can get the Wahala too, and y'all know Juvia's Place palettes are always on sale. This was recently on sale, I think like a week ago before I filmed this video, for I think like 18 bucks, and y'all know y'all can use somebody's code. I always use code FUMI, but you know, like you can use the code and get a discount on it, but $18 made it 50% off its original price, and then you could use somebody's code to get an extra 10% off. So like Juvia's Place has quite the deals, and if you don't mind just glazing over the pressed glitters and you like the fact that it has multi-chromes and the Unearthly Cosmetics one does not, then I would definitely say check it out. But those are my thoughts on both these palettes. You can comment down below and tell me what your thoughts are on which eye you prefer. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.